AITA cheating wife demands I be in the room as she delivers a fair baby. Wife cheated 'cause I'm Asian.
Am I the a-hole for refusing to be in the delivery room when my wife delivers? I 30 have been married to my wife 29 for 3 years. She got pregnant in January this year and I was overjoyed. But one day she struck with the bombshell that the child wasn't mine. I was shattered. By then she was 6 months into the pregnancy and I did not have the heart to make her go through the legal process of divorce. It seemed that the baby's father ran for it when he heard my wife was pregnant. I did tell her that I would be filing for divorce once she gives birth to baby and made it clear that our relationship wasn't salvageable. She agreed and I told her she'd have to move out once the lease expires in January. She tells me that she is still in love with me and that our relationship could be healed once again. I told her no and she left it at that. We have been sleeping in separate room ever since and I help with her delivery-related treatment and visits to the hospital. Now again a few days back she asks me to be with her in the delivery room once she delivers as she wants me to be a support for her. I once again declined and told her that she could ask her mother to be in the room to take care of her and not to ask me to be with her in the delivery room. She went on to tell this to her parents and they have been messaging and calling me trying to change my mind and even went on to call me cruel. Am I the a-hole for refusing to be in the delivery room? Edit. After reading your comments, I've decided to consult a lawyer and file for divorce immediately. Also planning on talking to her parents about taking her in and taking care of her stay at hospital. My wife 27F said she cheated on me 31M because she was never attracted to Asian men. We are both Asian and have a 4-year-old son together. I am 31 and my wife is 27. We married when she was 22 and I was 26. Friday outside of work I was confronted by a man 49 I kind of knew of but didn't know. He asked if I knew who he was and then started saying how powerful he was in his industry and how he rarely loses. And sure as hell wasn't going to go without a fight. As I was getting my bearings, he drops the bombshell that he's been sleeping with my wife and that he's not going to let her go. And she loves him too. I try to keep my composure as I drive home. For the first time in my marriage I did a deep dive into her iCloud. In it I found a bunch of infuriating and disgusting text messages such as him comparing his dick size to mine and saying that he's surprised an Asian man could have taken her virginity. Then other texts about how she could not resist white men. There were texts from him jealous that she had hooked up twice with this other guy. This other guy was also white. I knew that because he's the face of a local boutique hotel his parents own and the family's pretty well known. The earliest text message that showed infidelity was a rouge conversation with someone she met at a party who asked if he should book a hotel room. He sent over selfies and he was this actor type. The worst part is her thanking him for really expensive gifts and I realize she probably has a secret bank account somewhere. I go and pick up my son and send him to his grandma's. My wife comes home and I confront her. She starts crying and saying that I'm the only man she's ever loved. That I was the father of her kid. And that she had built a home with me. And that she doesn't regret marrying me. It was the happiest day of her life. I said that these text messages are absolutely disgusting and are tearing me apart. She first tried to say that he initiated most of those conversations and the context of the messages was skewed. I asked what the heck that even meant. She paused for a long moment and said that he made her feel desired. That a lot of these guys loved all her features and would say they were so obsessed with her that they literally love any woman that looks remotely like her. And that they continued to influence various promotions. And helped her network and increase her earnings astronomically. Then she broke down and admitted that she was never physically attracted to Asian men. And that she was never attracted to me. And throughout the marriage, she became even less attracted to me. And that the only people she felt sexually excited about have been white. And that was the main reason she cheated. And feels it hard to resist white men. But then she said that we work better together as a team. And we have a son to raise. She said I would be ruining his life if I put him through an ugly divorce and I would only see him part of the time. What do I do? She said she can't help what she is attracted to. We usually have sex at least once a week and I'm satisfied with regular sex and thought she was too. But it burns me that it was probably duty sex all along. Another problem is that her affair partner she confesses says he wants to have a kid with her and be a family with her. That he'd give her a better life and that he wasn't going to let her go. And that he was persisting and always was with her on business trips. She confessed that she did feel some kind of passion with him that's addicting and sometimes imagines the what ifs. Help. Our families know each other and our friend circle is also very much established. I'm totally unprepared for the humiliation of roller coaster of emotions ahead. My wife wants to renegotiate the terms of our marriage. Without going into too much detail with our past, my wife and I are at a bit of a crossroads with our marriage. Long story short, there has been a history of insecurity and trust issues on my part due to various instances of her emotional cheating. Sending inappropriate photos and messages to guys, both known to her and not. And generally a lack of mutual respect of boundaries. My wife openly admits to mental health issues. And in the past has seen this behavior as she has something wrong with her. Goes to counseling. I'm given what seems partial access to her phone. Things get better with time. As this has happened about 3 to 4 times in a 5-year marriage. There is an obvious cycle and pattern. While we and only we set the rules and boundaries for our marriage. We both went into this marriage with clear expectations around acceptable behavior. Or so I thought. Her previous husband encouraged this side of her. And I made it pretty clear I wasn't up for it. I'm a pretty black and white kind of guy with old-fashioned values. She's a bit more spontaneous and gray with her thoughts and feelings. She recently asked if we could try a threesome. I said I'm not interested. We had a great run for about 18 months. But what's different this time is rather than her trying to fix something. Her psychologist has asked if she'd embrace these thoughts and has asked if I would consider renegotiating what is acceptable. I've told her many times that there's nothing wrong with having fleeting desires. But she needed to be really clear on what is a need and a want. We sat down last night and talked over many things. She said she's thought about what her gray area looks like. And wanted to reassure me she does not want to open the marriage. Does not want to sleep with other people. Nothing sexual with anyone. She does however want to feel less judged. But also know I'd be okay if she flirted with people to keep building her confidence. There was other things. But she feels she would only focus on telling me the things she won't do. As opposed to what she would. I wouldn't be privy to what those are. She then proceeds to tell me that she had 3 guys in the space of 2 months recently willing to sleep with her. Her reassurance here was that if she wanted out of the marriage she would have considered it. However, on the flip side tells me she would never go through with it. She values everything about me as a person. Values our marriage and children, etc. Which lead her to this renegotiation. Considering my own personal history of being cheated on by my first wife. All of this has really pushed me to the brink. I'm struggling to see any benefit out of this that takes my needs also into consideration. All I see here is her trying to get me to accept this as who she is. And that her needs are more important than mine. I told her I'm not willing to stay married if it's purely out of comfort. I'm quite aware of the term cake eater. And I'm struggling to see how any of my needs are being put on the table. We're quite aware that no one can give anyone else complete fullness in their lives. But the difference is I'm the type of person who just accepts it for what it is. Whereas she has a need to fulfill any gaps. Would really appreciate any insight or ways I could calm my thoughts or ways forward. Couples counseling is one, however she's told me she needs to continue focusing on herself. There's likely more I could say. But we'll add more as needed. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy my video, please subscribe and leave like.